Today, we're diving into two really powerful moments from the childhood of a boy named Gadadhar. These aren't just sweet stories. They're moments that truly show us the heart of the great saint he would become, Sri Ramakrishna.
But before we jump in, just think about this for a second. We all have these choices in our lives, right? Big ones, small ones. But every now and then a choice comes along, especially when we're young, that sets the whole course for our future. It's like it reveals who we really are deep down.
So our story doesn't begin in a grand temple with a famous saint. Nope. It starts with a young boy in a village. This is Gadadhar. And even as a kid, you could just tell there was something different about him, something special. And his life gives us this incredible look into what real conviction is, starting with a huge test of his character.
Okay, so picture this. He's just 9 years old, and he's already facing this massive conflict between a promise he made from his heart and a very, very rigid social tradition. And believe me, this wasn't just some little childhood argument. It was a real challenge to the way things were done.
Now, to really get what's going on here, we have to understand the context. This ceremony, the Upanayana, it's a huge deal. It's the sacred thread ceremony, and for a boy from the Brahmin caste, it's like his official entry into a life of learning and spirituality. Every single part of it is dictated by ancient customs.
So here's where it gets complicated. Tradition was absolutely clear. The first ceremonial alms, or bhiksha, had to come from a Brahmin woman. But Gadadhar, out of pure love and gratitude, had already promised this honor to the Rani, a woman he adored who was from the blacksmith caste. Well, when his family found out, they were horrified. They told him, "No way, you can't do that," pointing to the strict caste rules. But Gadadhar, this 9-year-old kid, he just stood his ground. He refused to break his promise.
And get this was his argument. Just listen to the wisdom in those words. He completely flipped their argument around. He said, being a true Brahmin isn't about following a rule about caste. It's about being true to your word. He basically said, how can I honor God if I can't even honor my own promise? It was brilliant, and they had no answer for it.
And in the end, they had to give in. His family actually yielded to the sheer conviction of this little boy. This one act just shines a light on two principles that would guide his entire life: choosing truth, satya, and love, prema, over any man-made rule or social barrier. Now let's see how this theme continues in our second story.
All right, so let's fast forward a few years. Gadadhar is a teenager now, and after his father passes away, he faces another one of these life-defining moments. This time, he's in the big, bustling city of Calcutta, and the choice is between his worldly duty and a much deeper calling from within.
You see, things were tough for the family financially, so his older brother, Ramakumar, he starts a school in Kolkata and says, "Gadadhar, come here, get an education, and you can help support us." It was the sensible thing to do, right? A totally practical plan for their future.
So his brother was basically offering him what's called Arthakari Vidya. You can literally translate that as bread-winning education. It's the kind of knowledge we all know, the stuff you learn to get a job, to make money, to build a career. But Gadadhar, he saw a totally different path. He was looking for a kind of wisdom that doesn't just fill your wallet, but actually fills your heart and soul. And this is where it all comes to a head. When his brother really pushed him to get serious about his studies for a career, this was his answer. This wasn't just some teenager being difficult. It was an absolutely clear statement of his purpose in life. He wasn't interested in learning how to make a living. He wanted to learn how to live.
I mean, let that sink in for a moment. This was a total rejection of worldly ambition. At an age when most of us are just starting to think about what we want to do, he was making a conscious choice about who he wanted to be. This was, without a doubt, the defining moment of his youth.
So when you put these two stories together, the promise he kept to Donnie and his rejection of a bread-winning education, you can actually see the pillars of his spiritual identity being built, right there in those choices.
The real takeaway here is just how incredibly consistent he was. In both situations, you see this fierce commitment to truth over dogma, to love over social rules, and to the search for inner wisdom over any kind of outer success. For him, these weren't just nice ideas. They were how he lived his life, right from the very beginning.
And that really brings us full circle, back to that question from the beginning. These stories kind of hold up a mirror to our own lives, don't they? They make you wonder, what are the choices we make, the moments we take a stand, that truly show the world and ourselves what our purpose really is?
Thank you so much for joining us today. We really hope this story gave you a little glimpse into the heart of this incredible soul.
Here at Gyankosh, our whole goal is to share this kind of timeless spiritual wisdom with you in a clear and simple way. We have videos every single day on everything from the Srimad Bhagavatam to the lives of the great saints, and we do it in English, Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Bengali, with more languages on the way. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to Gyankosh. It really helps us out, and you'll get notified of our daily videos. And of course, don't forget to like this and share it with your family and friends.
Let's together keep the light of Sanatan Dharma shining bright.